Yo, what's up guys? Welcome to this YouTube series in which I'll explain the ins and outs of being an IGL in Valorant. In this series we'll discuss many different topics regarding just being an IGL and, well, the team environment in general. So, if you're gonna be interested in this series, make sure to drop a like below and hit the subscribe button. And if you have any suggestions or topics that you want me to discuss, make sure to leave them in the comments as well. So, let's get right into the video. So, last time we talked about what it takes to be an IGL, and make sure to check that video out if you haven't already. And the most logical next step for an IGL is to determine what his style will be. A style can also be characterized as a philosophy of the game. A philosophy is the way an IGL is looking at the game, and this is just great to establish like a baseline for all your decisions and strategies, and also helping your team staying on the same page, which is obviously your number one goal as an IGL. So, some IGLs think that the game should be played in a fast pace, for example in CSGO, Furia with the IGL art, and maybe even FaZe in Kerrigan, and I guess you could argue in Valorant you also have FaZe with like, I don't know, fucking Baby Bay and stuff like that, who, I mean, they were really well known for just rushing A ice blocks every single round, a couple months ago, maybe a year ago, so teams like that maybe think they have to play in a fast pace. And you also have IGLs that think slow defaults are the way to go. Right from the top of my head, I can think of like Navi with Zeus in like 2018. They used to play a really slow style, just defaulting it out. And other IGLs think you should put more emphasis on just putting every player in the right positions. And a great example of that is in CSGO Fnatic 2015 under the lead of Pronex, who basically their style was just to, they had all these insane players. They were all like top 20 players in the game. And what they just did is they kind of played some sort of super loose like default style where they basically just sent every player to a position and they just hoped that they would get kills and just played around with these skills. So that's definitely a style you could play. This style will determine how you will structure your strategies and rules. So you want to establish a style before you start looking for players and create strategies. So my style, for example, is to mainly focus on team play. And in my opinion, especially in a game like Valorant, coordination and team play are the two most important aspects of the game. So this means I really want to work on building great fundamentals, which is often characterized by focusing on like taking space together and always taking initiative with each other. For example, like if you, for example, take Ascent right here, I really want to focus on like just being proactive and taking like initiative in getting info. For example, by just like flashing my teammate in towards B main, so we get info or even take B main control. So stuff like that is what I put the most emphasis on. So ultimately, this takes quite some time, often leading to my team like writing down the clock and executing the last 30 seconds, or for example the attack side. But I personally think that this style actually has the most merit as it allows for great flexibility without having to add unpredictability or gimmicky strategies. If everyone is just able to play together comfortable, then you're already a long way when it comes to having a successful team. And the role and strategies in the style is actually, they just make your calling and your play easier. So, basically strategies just allow your team to know exactly what they need to do. So you don't have to like micromanage them. You don't have to tell them in the round exactly what they have to do. So just makes your job as an IGL and as a team in general easier. Once again, always comes back on the same point. It makes sure you're all on the same page. Moreover, it actually allows me to go whatever direction I think a team should be heading. It allows for a more loose style if you have very knowledgeable and skilled teammates that are able to take initiative, or a more structured approach if the team struggles taking initiative. Lastly, it also allows me to have a structured schedule with my style in which you have several stages. So in the first stage, I like focus on making sure the team is comfortable playing together. For example, encouraging just taking initiative, so taking like the main control, just pushing something together, taking short, whatever, and just playing with simple strategies, simple defaults, not too many strategies, don't make it too complicated, right? And then later stages, you can divide it in whatever kind of stages I want. And then just later on, we can focus on like more unpredictability and gimmicky strategies in which everyone knows what to do right from the start. So basically, you start building from like layers, with my first one being really focusing on fundamentals. Then on top of that, we can add like, I don't know, certain unpredictability or look at how you can make our gameplay unpredictable, and then even on top of that, you can build like strategies that where everyone knows right from the start, right from spawn, what to do exactly. So yeah. So when determining your own style, it's fine to actually implement similar styles from other IGLs or teams. But maybe you have your own unique approach to the game in which you think, for example, that the game should be completely based on unpredictability, in which you will start focusing on staying unpredictable. But overall, it might actually be a great way to establish how you want to play as a team. Copying your favorite IGLs can just give you a direction to start with, and perhaps you can even iterate on it, completely overtake it, or just abandon it completely, depending on how it turns out. And for my playstyle, I took inspiration of mainly 3 IGLs, which are Steel, Glaive, and Kerrigan. What these IGLs have in common is that they generally take the initiative for the team and they lead by example. So all 3 of them are excellent in using in utilizing the strengths of their teammates. So for example, recently HLTV also released an article posting about or talking about aggressive IGLs and why there are so many in CS. And it's mainly because as an IGL, you want to just gain as much info as possible. So currently on my team, I'm playing for HN Valorant. It's just basically like a team with some Valorant, CSGO, and in real life friends. We're just kind of mixing together, just playing tournaments, not practicing. But I'm playing Astra for them right now, but what I kind of sometimes find, like, I'm fine with, like, Astra is actually a great agent, and we'll talk about, like, roles and IGL roles in a later video. But if you play, like, an agent, more like KO, for example, you are a bit more like in the fight, right? You can decide kind of in and around, okay, where do I want to go? Do I want to take A main? Do I want to push mid? Like sometimes right now as an Astra, you're probably going to be more kind of like the lurk type, kind of the solo type in a default. You're not always going to have someone with you because you need to stay alive. You're just going to play a bit more passive. You don't want to get in there, just die, and then you don't have smokes for the entire attack round. So if you're KO, you're a bit less trivial because you only have flashes or whatever. You're not a smoker guy, so you can. It's better if you die over like a smoker, so you can take a bit more initiative and actually like push the mid if you want to take mid. You just have to tell your teammate exactly what to do. And you can just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna flash into market, and then we're just gonna push market together, like whatever, stuff like that. So what I actually learned from these IGLs is like I kind of tried to take one of like their best aspects of them, try to create them or put them in my gameplay or in my team play, and then see also what do I think a team should do. So what I learned, for example, is like a more structured play from Glaive when it comes to creating strategies, and then leading the team outside and inside the game for like Steel and Kerrigan. And these things combined actually create a good balance of both structure and flexibility for me. Finally, we actually need to know how we can execute our style. So generally, styles are executed by creating strategies with the style as a baseline, meaning that if you adopt a slow style, you want to be focusing on potentially creating like strategies that are more focused around defaults and taking space, whereas with a fast-paced style, you want to focus on having really well set up executes that allows you to take a side easier. So for example, on like defaults, you want to maybe decide, okay, well, or discuss with the team, well, how are we going to take short? What kind of util can we use to take short? Is that we just going to use like one KO flash? Is that we're going to use a KO knife or volley? The red copy right here. It's like kind of those things where you want to go over, and as for like in more fast-paced style, you want to go over, okay, well, what are we going to molly? What are we going to smoke? What are we going to pull? How are we going to set up our util to actually take this side? That's what you kind of want to discuss with a fast-paced team. So there is definitely like differences in preparation and strategies between every style. That's what I want to make clear. So for my style, I'll focus on like creating set plays that my team can do in which they know exactly what they need to do. For example, take space, or to discuss, like taking short, or on the defense side, taking a main. How can we take a main? On both attacker and defense side. And I just like my team to just be proactive, meaning that I'll just discuss and practice aspects such as like flashing for teammates. Let's say I flash my second A player here into A to get info on A main. We take A main with like one-way Astra smoke. Or let's say we just dry push together with like 2 guys. And we get the info like that, and we just stay like this. Okay, they execute B. Okay, we're gonna flank. So how are we gonna flank? Are we gonna get 2 guys? or just one guy, who are we gonna let flank? Who's the best flanker? If we flank, are we gonna both push at the same time all the way up here to like be main? Or are we gonna let one guy push up and then the other guy, so the first guy baits for the second guy and they wouldn't expect the second guy? So those are all things that you kind of want to discuss if you practice more of like a team play fundamental style. Maybe even that's a bit more reactive, but you can still definitely play your own game with it. So once you determined your style, you can start forming like a team with players that you think will fit your style, and then you can start creating strategies that will facilitate your style. So probably you'll have to make small adaptations along the way. Things will never turn out exactly as you want them to. But this is definitely one of the strengths that you need to have as a great leader. So all in all, as an IGL, you just want to determine a style you want to use as a baseline when creating strategies and calling. It gives you a direction in which to work, and it helps your team staying on the same page. You can take inspirations or even copy just other IGLs when determining a style, and once your style has been established, you're actually able to start working on a well-rounded playbook and create the team play that you want to see. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or found it interesting, make sure to drop a like below and hit the subscribe button. If you have any suggestions or topics that you want me to discuss, make sure to drop them in the comments as well. And I would love you guys. Thank you so much for fucking watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you in next videos. Alright, peace out.